Now, ahead of Armistice Day, we have been talking this morning about the sacrifices made by young men and women during the First World War. Well, with me now in the studio is one of the world's best-known musicians who has collaborated on a record which chronicles those sacrifices. He is, of course, Nick Mason from Pink Floyd, alongside Professor Sir Chris Evans, OBE, who started this project. But before we speak to him, let's have a little listen to the record.
Set our face, what will be when the whistle breaks this trance? I'll say, my friends, take their last chance.
Well, Sir Chris Evans, I'll come to you first. Where did this all begin?
It started about 4 years ago, ironically, about 100 years from the beginning of World War I, when I was investigating and researching a new idea for a cancer charity, which we will launch next year, a charity for cancer awareness to help people on their journey if they've got cancer or to try and prevent cancer, etc., etc. But whilst doing that, I spotted through thousands of cancer patient letters a lot of phrases and sentences which I'd seen before in lots of World War I soldier letters back home to their loved ones. And some of the sentences were identical. Some of the paragraphs were very similar. So I just got very consumed in this and started pulling all of the World War I letters out. And so I now have 33,500 of them, and I've read them all, and that's how this started.
And Nick, where do you come in? I mean, we're teasing people. The clip we played of the record, we came out before the drums kicked in. But that's to tease you. That's to make you go and buy it.
Story of my life.
Nick, how did you come into this project?
Well, I was recruited by Chris, really, and in return for a free lunch, or as Chris said, no free lunch.
No such thing as a free lunch.
Of course.
He put the idea to me, and I loved the idea, and said, of course I'll do it. And it was... And it's actually one of those things that's very easy to do. I mean, it was a day's work, I think, to do 3 or 4 tracks. What's interesting is, of course, I didn't hear it until the other day, because you put the drums down against click tracks and guide tracks and so on. So I never heard anything Sinead had done, nothing that Ronnie had done. So for me, I'm listening to it now and thinking, I'm so pleased to be involved.
My job is to recruit all the others and bring everybody together.
So who else have you got involved?
Ronnie Wood did brilliant guitaring. Sinead O'Connor, whose vocals you've just heard, exceptional. Imelda May came in to back up Sinead O'Connor, and a beautiful singer in her own right.
Yeah, she does rockabilly, doesn't she?
Yeah,
she's those kind of tracks.
superb, lovely.
Really strong voice.
And then Brian Eno, that great genius, with John Reynolds, the producer. So the entire gang. I mean,
that's a lot of power lunches you must have had, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had to sort of wake up one morning and go, oh my God, I got the super group I have to handle. You know, but the geniuses, these guys, are not just big names, big rock icons. They're actually very good at what they do, very good.
Something we've been discussing this morning, this is a question for both of you, is how important do you think contextualising, contemporising events of 100 years ago is? Because there will be people alive today who are not, you know, just out of short trousers, but for whom the Great War, because all those stories are so far in the past, because the scale of the loss is almost unfathomable to younger eyes. How significant are projects?
I think it's very important to remember it, because, as Chris says, there's sort of 2 wars going on. One is the war against cancer, and the other is real war. And just to remember how easily we just fall into that sort of situation, and how many people were lost, and younger people now to recognise that their children were the age of the people that were sent to war 100 years ago.
So we're using, you see, all these letters that we got from World War I, all of the stories, the true stories of these young soldiers who lost their lives.
They're all on this EP.
Yep, and so, but it's even deeper than that, because all the lyrics of all of the songs are from the letters. So we haven't just made the words up, made the sentences up. And before each song, there's a little prologue, a little narrative. The One More Yard is preceded by Cillian Murphy, who does a fabulous narrative voice, reading some of the last letters by this Irish soldier before. And it's amazingly haunting, very sad, completely true. And he just sets the whole context of the story.
So we're doing this. Superstars from the world of music, we're from the world of acting as well. Cillian Murphy and Peaky Blinders, one of my particular favourites. How will you be marking Armistice Day this weekend, Nick?
Well, I think recognising the silence, and I think it's going to be a weekend of really staying home.
Yeah, it is a poignant day, and this year is the centenary as well. So, Chris, how will you be?
Well, I'm going to stay home in my village in the Cotswolds, and the vicar has very kindly said that he would like to play the whole of the video and the whole of the song and the narrative to the locals, who have, a number of them have requested it. Would you? And I've said, yes, you can do it. And so I was going to secretly turn up and give free hundreds of our CDs of the whole lot. But now that I've said it on Sky News, it's
I know, I was going to say the secret is out.
That's the end of that one. So I am going to do that.
You were very clever, though. You didn't give away the village's name. The Cotswolds is quite a big area.
Yeah, it is. Shall I give the name of the village?
Yeah, of course you can, if you like.
Well, it's Bybury, so you can all come from far, all Nick's fans and Ronnie Wood's fans, to come to church. They've got to come to church, though, because there will be the silence, there will be the sadness, and I think our song, poignantly captures the whole thing. And I'm very happy to give these things out.
Sounds like a wonderful tribute. And as you've been through so many of these letters, is there one particular letter that stood out to you?
Oh, wow. Well, I got about 33,500 of them, and there was 2.1 billion letters written for British soldiers back and forth the 4 years. So well, there's not one. I got a bundle here if you want to know what they look like. Now, these are fantastic copies done on vintage 100-year-old paper. And this one is not about One More Yard. So this was a young man. I'll tell you a story in 30 seconds, as fast as I can. And William was 17, went to World War I, left behind his little fiancée, who was 19, Emily Chittix. And it's a fabulous story, and I'm afraid it's a little bit sad as well. And so he dies. He's written all these letters back and forth, and she ends up writing what she thinks is her next letter, but he's dead. And she doesn't know. She writes it in red ink. She lives till she's 76, and then she dies. And when she dies of cancer.
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, guys, at the end of the programme.